Hello, and welcome to Healthy Kingston, a health promotion and wellness program of the Kingston Board of Health. I'm Janet Wade, your host. Some announcements from the Public Health Department. Their hours of operation have changed. They are currently Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. All Title V inspectors need to be licensed prior to conducting any Title V inspections. This program is special. It is a retrospective of some of our major programs this past year, giving you clips of some of the more important information that was related. First, an interview with Police Chief Brian Holmes, where he relays his goals for the police department.
The town has a lot of really good things going for them. I mean, some of the things that I see is the workforce is fantastic. The people who are here, they want to be here. They want to do the great work of the town. I see it in the police department. I see it in the fire department. I see it with my interactions on Evergreen Street at the townhouse and through like the rec department. They've got a gem. There's some nice things in the town. The rec department is very active and involved. We have a good partnership with them. The Adina, the boat ramp, I have my lunch down there every other week or so because it's quiet. Mm-hmm. The town has a gem in that. I mean, they have a harbor master that gets the job done, and they're stipended, but it's really not a lot of pay for the amount of work that they do and the service that they provide to make it safe and facilitative for the boating community. So the town's got a gem in that. I see a lot of good in the town. We have a good interaction and a good working relationship with the health agent, Joyce. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of potential for the future. It's very clear that I've made it public that the department is underfunded and understaffed, and I'm working with the elected officials to determine how it is that we create some growth in the staff. Mm-hmm. One of my things coming through the door to the Kingston Police Department is I'm a very strong advocate for the mental well-being of the first responders, like the police on the street. And I want the people to know that they shouldn't be ashamed if they need to talk to somebody on peer support. So I'm a strong advocate for that. As far as the community, the two biggest issues that the business of policing has seen an absolute explosion in nationwide is mental health and substance abuse. Mm-hmm. So it's for that reason that I made one of our goals to establish a family services unit. Shortly after I arrived, I got the authorization of the Board of Selectmen to apply for a grant through the Massachusetts Department of Mental Health's diversion program that would give us a full-time clinician, mental health clinician for mental health and substance abuse. I wasn't really qualified for it based on the town's population until I brought up the idea of using it as a clinician for 3 towns, Kingston, Plymouth, and Halifax, and I got both of those police chiefs on board. So the statement of interest is there. Mm-hmm. But what ended up happening probably in September is the governor ended up putting a freeze on those funds. And the new fiscal year has the funds going from $18 million down to about $3.8 million. Yeah. So the community is going to lose the access to those clinicians. So it's been one of my goals to make it so that we have a resource through a co-response clinician available mm-hmm. for us and those other 2 communities, that if we're responding to a domestic violence type incident or an incident where there's recurring mental health that keeps coming up, mm-hmm. that we have a licensed mental health clinician and we have somebody that's an expert in the field of mental health.
Later in the show, Chief Holmes told me about how police are trained to deal with the mentally ill.
This year's training, there's a 2-hour mandate on autism. It's an online program. I just did it Sunday night. It's 2 hours on learning the signs and symptoms of people who may be suffering from anything on the autism spectrum disorder, how to respond, how to interact, how to de-escalate, how to minimize the triggering of these folks, and the best appropriate way to respond so as nobody gets hurt. Mm-hmm. But the MPTC changes their training every year. We've gone through crisis intervention training, we've gone through mental health first responder training, and that has been through the MPTC. There's different grants out there through the Department of Mental Health and other resources. So the training changes from year to year. We have a ton of it. One of the first things that I did with the command staff is I gave them a copy of the book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0 by Dr. Travis Bradbury. So my discussion was, in my first staff meeting was, if I'm asking you folks to understand and work with others it starts with first understanding yourself and how your brain works and how you formulate thought and how you go from rational to irrational and then back again. And everybody read it. It's been a discussion point. Everybody's got a copy of the book. But, I'm a strong believer in the application of psychology to the job. So there's a lot of resources in there. We're going to continue to march. We're going to do everything we have to do to have our people trained as highly as they can be in terms of de-escalation and understanding human behavior. The second thing is Massachusetts police officers have the statutory authority to hospitalize somebody in the event of an emergency, and it would be a hold under Massachusetts General Law 123.12 to put somebody who's a danger to themselves or a danger to others into an emergency room situation where they can be evaluated by a psychiatric social worker. That's a last resort. We try to provide resources through Plymouth County Outreach. There's a mobile health crisis unit that's offered through a state agency, multi-health mobile crisis team. That's for people that are on mass health. There's a lot of resources. My job is to make sure that the command staff knows what those resources are. In a worst case scenario, anybody can call 911 anytime. We're open 24/7, and those calls are answered directly at 244 Main Street for police and fire.
Now is a discussion on wildlife removal from buildings. It's conducted with Nick Diodato, who's the co-owner of Expert Wildlife Removal.
So we'll start with the springtime, which is where we are now, and it's probably one of our most busiest seasons, I would say. Everything's having babies right now and doing their fun stuff and just getting active from their winter season where they were kind of hanging out and not really had much weather to go out and hang out with. So we're doing a lot of raccoons right now, squirrels, woodchucks underneath decks, all that stuff, and just causing general property damage. Ripping raccoons, ripping roofs apart, just thousands and thousands of property damage we've been seeing in the last week alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about summer? Fall?
Summer, we see a lot of bats. So late spring, early summer, bats become active. They go into what's called a torpor state during the winter time. So it's basically a semi-hibernation. So a lot of people will hear overwintering bats in their attic, but the problem is in the state of Massachusetts, you cannot touch the bats until May 1st because it's a blackout period. Bats are very beneficial to the environment, as we all know, and there's been a decrease in bat populations because things like white nose virus, which is affecting them. They go in the caves and it spreads very rapidly. Really big wipeout of the population. And I think things like pesticide spraying as well may not be great for the bats. And just general deforestation and just taking of their habitat affects the bats. So there's a really strong push to protect the bats now. So we're only allowed to do them May 1st through May 31st.
Okay.
Then it gets shut down because they have babies. And if you do the proper work to get them out during the baby season, the mothers will go out, but the babies are flightless and they get trapped in your attic. And so they're not able to live once the mothers go out. Yes, because we utilize one-way door systems for the exclusions. That's what we call them. And they're, like I said, they're able to go out but not get back in.
Okay.
So we cannot do them during the middle of the summer. But when it gets to the end, about October-ish, October 15th, August 1st, and then through October, we can do bats again. And then it shuts down for the winter. So there's a real emphasis on protecting bats.
Okay.
But yeah, they do carry rabies. The guano is highly hazardous. Histoplasmosis is a fungal virus that can grow on the feces, and if it gets airborne and you breathe it in, you can get very sick.
Okay.
So that's our summertime, basically.
What about the fall?
Fall is rodent central. All the mice, all the rats, everything's trying to get in. We do a lot of squirrels in the fall as well. And of course, you know, if you've seen the news, you know what's going on with the hantavirus in the rodents. And so everybody's been asking me all about that lately. So there's definitely an increase in that going on lately. There just seems to be generally more things going on disease-wise.
Right.
Yeah.
Does the weather affect them? I never even
I think
thought about that.
That is why the hantavirus is so prevalent in Southern California, is because of the environment. We don't get very much hantavirus in the Northeast because our environment doesn't allow for the proper breeding of it. It doesn't work. But there isn't we don't not have it.
Okay.
It's just very rare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Along with that, I wanted to ask you, what are the common points of entry that the wildlife and the rodents have to our property?
Yes. So a lot of it is conjoining roof lines on houses, soffits, so where a lot of times the roofs will meet each other. They're not exactly tight, and animals really don't even have to do anything to get in. There's already a gap there, and they just take advantage of what was already there by builders.
Okay.
Chimney caps, that's a great thing. We get raccoons and chimneys all the time. If you put a chimney cap on, you won't have a problem. A lot of lack of maintenance on the home as well. Rotted trim, things that, just kind of let homeowners slip through the cracks, and it's easy access for wildlife. Attic vents, unsecured attic vents, ridge vents, bulkhead doors on basements, foundations. We just literally find a whole slew. They're so clever, they can find any way in. Behind the gutters, the fascia behind the gutters, sometimes the drip edges aren't tight. Then if they really want in bad enough, they'll chew a hole right through the middle of your roof.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. It makes me feel like I need to go out and do a trajectory around my house weekly to find out what the issues are that are going on.
Yeah. We have had to
that's a lot to
incorporate
contend
that.
with.
Yeah.
So what would you say homeowners should be doing to prevent exposure to wildlife?
Keep an eye on your property all the time. Constantly go out. The number one thing we hear from people is, I didn't notice that. I'm never outside. I didn't look up there. Well, the neighbor will come across the street. Hey, do you know you have a raccoon hanging out of your soffit?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't really go outside too much. Just go around your house and take a look every once in a while. And if you notice that something needs to be maintained, it's probably a good idea to get it maintained sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Because a small problem can easily turn into a large problem.
Sure.
So definitely just do routine maintenance of your home. Check around. Even if you're not there, have somebody do it for you. Have a property maintenance person, have a pest control guy come out every 3 months and just take a look at your house and do a full inspection. That way you can stay on top of things. That's the number one thing. Yeah.
What about subtle things like looking for, droppings?
Yes.
Urine?
So you should be checking. Obviously, the first number one thing people complain about is, I hear something. I hear scratching, I hear banging, I hear marbles rolling, what sounds like marbles rolling. A lot of times I can, by what they give me for evidence, I can hear. Kind of lets me know what it is. It generally, okay, I hear marbles rolling in my ceiling.
Right.
That generally believes me to lead it's a mouse problem, because mice like to carry in acorns and they'll roll them like marbles.
Oh, for heaven. Oh,
so it sounds like, I'm like,
I
okay, I know what that is already. Yeah, but we do a full inspection of the house when we come out and do work. So we're able to identify all the issues, entry points, and anything that we think might be a problem.
Okay. Okay, you've addressed our houses. What about property at large?
Yes, I would definitely look out for, burrowing, loose sand kicked up to where it wasn't before, kind of near retaining walls, rock walls, stuff like that. You can see, we'll see that type of stuff for rats and woodchucks and burrowing type animals like that. And then obviously you can see if there's insulation, if you're looking up, you can see insulation coming out of the soffits. What I would do though, mostly to prevent pests from coming into your yard, is you gotta make sure the habitat is not ideal for them. Brush piles, scrap heaps, standing water, anything like that, take it away. You want to make it uninviting for the guests of wildlife as possible.
Okay.
Anything you can do. They don't like wide open spaces. They like clutter and so don't keep brush piles, compost heaps, stuff like that. I know people like to do compost, but it really attracts rats and all kinds of other animals. If you attract rats, then it attracts the bigger predators, and you just start attracting everybody. And one thing that I kind of discourage to most customers is bird feeders.
Oh, really?
It's not a great idea. It really brings in everything under the sun. Literally chipmunks, rats, mice, raccoons, squirrels, everything goes for bird feed. And then if you have any issues with your home, they're going to take advantage of it, because all they'll do is food, shelter, back and forth. Why would they? They will set up shop right on that bird feeder.
Okay.
And because a lot of times we'll go into the basement and see, for mice, pull down the insulation, and it'll be all birdseed from them bringing the birdseed in and out, because they stash food all year long.
Right.
For the winter time, so they'll stash food all year, and that's what they'll do. They'll just puff up their cheeks stuff them with acorns, sunflower seeds, anything that they can, any type of nut that they can, and they'll just all day long back and forth stash.
Our next discussion is on isolation and socialization. It's an interview with Holly Nigeli, who is the director of the Council on Aging here in Kingston.
We offer exercise programs. We have a cafe that's open 4 days a week. We offer events and activities all day, every day, Monday through Friday. We have entertainers come in. We have Nick from the library comes in once a month. So we really partner with other departments around the town to promote services and events that are happening. So sometimes people from the assessor's office are coming in to talk about tax implications for seniors. Again, the library, we have our town administrator comes over once a month and does office hours. Our police chief comes over once a month and does office hours. So again, we just try to provide a place where people can get information without barriers in a comfortable environment. And our exercise programs and our education classes are always available, and most of those are at little or no cost.
That's what I was going to say. Is there a fee for them?
Right, so there's no fee to become a member of the Council on Aging and to receive services. The only activities that are charged for are the exercise classes.
Okay.
And then the food at our cafe. It's a nominal cost.
And lastly, it is the discussion I had recently with Representative Kathy Lenatra about her goals and objectives for her position and also the drug kratom. Creighton, that I'd like you to speak to, because I know you've got the rallying cry for people to know about this and its implications, particularly for our young people.
Yes.
And what people truly need to know about it, and its implications, really, for all of us.
Yes, so I had a phone call from a friend who's a constituent, and she has a friend who wanted to remain anonymous, but her son had an incident with this new drug called kratom. And she asked me if I'd heard of it, and I didn't. And I have 4 children, I asked my children, and they hadn't either. So he was it was just a local gas station, actually, and he was getting it for energy. It was like a little energy shot that we see at a lot of gas stations, right? And we see them at convenience stores. And he was buying it daily, and one day maybe more than daily, could have been more. One day he was in there and there was another younger gentleman behind him and saw him buying it. And he said, "How long have you been on that stuff?" He said, "About a month now." And he said, "It's going to ruin your life. You need to go home and ask for help right now." And the young man did, and he wound up in rehab because he was addicted to it. So after a little more research, of course, I called the police chief in Kingston too, and he said, "Yes, I've heard of it." And we did some research, and it's a natural leaf that's out of Southeast Asia, and it has opioid effects, and it's as addictive as opioids. You can be addicted within a week, and a lot of people have become addicted.
Wow.
So I looked into the legislation. We have like 7,000 bills that are filed each session, so I did a search, and I saw that there were 4 bills filed, and I reached out to those representatives, and one is Representative Colleen Gary, and she has a bill named after a young gentleman who was actually her friend's son, and he was in Florida, and he was going to a kava bar, which I had not heard of, but a kava bar is a bar where people go that don't drink alcohol, and it's like a root, and he was introduced to this seltzer that had kratom in it, and it was, all he saw was no caffeine, no sugar, and thinking he's drinking a healthy drink. And when he went to the kava bar, that's what he would drink. And then he did not show up for work one day, and they did a wellness check, and he had passed away. And when they did the autopsy, it was found out that he had overdosed on kratom, on that drink. He had at least three that day, and he had overdosed and died. So,
do you have any idea as to how it makes you feel?
Like you're on opioids, like you're on...
So like a high?
Like a high, yeah. They do market it as an energy drink. Sometimes it's an energy drink. A focus, so focus and energy, it's advertised at. It's in You can drink it as a tea, you can have it in pill form, you can have it in that seltzer. So a lot of convenience stores, they call it gas station heroin is what the nickname is. So that's what they call it, gas station heroin. Wow. So just within this research and talking to people, yesterday we had a briefing at the State House that I hosted, and I had a physician from the Boston area talking about some of his patients had become addicted to this. I had the mother of the son who passed away. Online, we had some Zoom in of another mother from New York whose son passed away from it as well. And then another physician from Western Mass whose son overdosed, but he lived. And he was someone that just very health conscious, never drank, never smoked, and thought this was like a healthy drink. And he became addicted. And he was a licensed therapist, and he almost lost everything. He wound up in a detox for a while and is spending some time in Canada because they don't sell it in Canada. So he's spending some time as he recovers in Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it listed as an ingredient? How do you
So
know
on
if
this,
it's
I wish
in
I
it?
brought a picture of the seltzer bottle. It's a regular seltzer bottle that you would see, like one of those tall, thin cans, and on the bottom it just says Kratom. Yeah. But it says in smaller letters, at first you see no sugar, no caffeine,
Right.
energy focus.
Right.
Yeah, it does list it as an ingredient.
Wow. So from here, I understand you have spoken with the Board of Health.
I have in Kingston. I've reached out to all the Board of Healths in the 12th Plymouth District, which is 6 towns. I happen to know Joyce very well. She did a project with my son when he was at Mass Maritime. She's a lovely, lovely person. And I went to the Board of Health meeting in Kingston, and they had, of course, there's 2 nurses on there. They've done their research and saw the dangers of this, because it's dangerous. And we have young people that don't understand the dangers of this.
Right.
I mean, they're becoming addicted. They're becoming addicted like they would to opioids.
Right.
And they are thinking that they're just having a health drink.
Health drink.
Yeah, it's really scary, especially being a mother of 4, right? And
absolutely.
I have all 4 of my children are athletes and very health conscious, and I could see them easily doing this too. Or even friends. I had a friend that was over my house for a cookout over the summer, and she said, I was at, I think she said Cumberland Farms, and it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's that time you need the coffee, and I saw this little thing for focus and energy, and I grabbed it, and she said, I went back to work and called my husband and said, come get me, I am a mess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this should enlighten a lot of people, me included, and it's scary when you find out about these things that are out there that come across to the public as very natural and healthy,
Right.
and are really harming us tremendously, and particularly our young people. So, with all of that said, what are some takeaways that you would like people to have from our conversation?
Just, the big concern here is it's not regulated, right? So each product can have, you don't know how much is in each product. Some may be a really small amount where they won't have any effects, but some may be a larger amount. Or like this young man had 3 drinks, nausea, liver disease, addiction, it's a big thing. And, as we're very concerned, there's going to be a group out there that says it's helped them through addiction. Maybe it's gotten them off of something, and that's great as long as it's regulated.
Right,
and it's through a physician,
controlled.
right? It
Yeah.
needs to be controlled. Right now, we have something out on our streets that our kids can buy, that our older people can buy, that anybody can buy, right? Anybody can buy at a convenience store, at a gas station that's not regulated, and we don't know what those effects are going to be. And the young people's parents that I've heard from, or even young people that have taken it, even a woman my age, it is dangerous. It is dangerous and it's addictive, and it needs to be regulated. And until it's regulated, I truly believe it should be banned.
Okay. I hope you've enjoyed these excerpts. It's been a very interesting year. I've met some wonderful people who contribute a lot to our community. So I hope you have benefited from what they had to say. Happy holidays.